Hey guys, Spooks here, and welcome back to some more West of Loathing. Now we're about to go through this secret passage. Sewing kit. Good one. I'm glad you think so. The homophonous nature of so and so certainly is right for puns, yes? Is that so? Yes, very good. Very funny. Listen, are you going to loot this container or what? Why so serious? Well, you are kind of driving the joke into the ground now, and it's getting really tiresome. Not really tiresome, only so-so. Just come on. This has totally stopped being funny. Is that so? Yes, it is. Are you just messing with me? Do you just not want what's this? I do want it. I want it so bad. Look, Sylvester, you're starting to get on my nerves now. So what? So what? Is that there's an item in here that you need for progression. And at this point, I'm sorely tempted to not give it to you. So don't give it to me then. Okay, take it. Take it and get the hell out of this script. Thank you so much. Okay, we got the elevator button. Oh. That's cool. Ah, okay, so this is bedroom 3. I'm gonna take this. Hello there. Are you here to laugh at me?
No, not at all. Why would I do that?
No, of course you wouldn't. Nobody ever laughs. I never made a single person laugh in my entire career.
Oh, that's a left turn I wasn't expecting. What was your career?
I used to design gags and novelties, but I was terrible at my job. I couldn't come up with a single novel idea. Excuse me. This conversation
seems hardly familiar.
See, even my very presence is unoriginal.
You're just being too hard on yourself. I bet you invented all kinds of fake stuff.
All kinds of
good stuff.
My best invention was fake vomit. It looks just like fake vomit, but surprise, it's real. That was the one that got me fired.
How did you die?
I was working on a new invention, an exploding cigar. I thought it would be pretty funny. You light a cigar and it's fine for a second, but suddenly it goes off with a big bang, and you jump in surprise and everyone laughs because you nearly had a heart attack. Funny, right?
Sure.
I hit a snag in development, though.
What happened?
Well, I figured I'd use gunpowder for the explosive, and you can buy it already packed in these little brass cartridges, so that seemed convenient.
Do you mean bullets?
My first test run was a real mess, I can tell you that.
I can imagine.
So anyway, now I'm a failure and I'm dead.
Maybe I can help you out.
What do you mean?
Well, your initial idea was pretty funny, I guess. It's just your execution was the problem.
My execution was the problem? You're a real laugh right. Maybe you could help me after all. Okay. No, dear. I'm sorry, but I can't let you do that.
Why not? What's in there?
A customer. He hasn't paid his bill, so I was forced to lock him in there until he does. I know that seems mean, but one has to take a firm hand to these things.
How much does he owe you?
900 meat.
Well, how is he supposed to get the meat to pay you if you won't let him out?
That is a fair question, dear, but that's on him, I'm afraid. I'm gonna just pay for him. Hey, buddy. One of the museum employees is sitting here reading a magazine. Congratulate him on the newfound freedom. Congratulations.
Congratulations. I freed you. You're free.
Free from what?
Well, from being locked in this room with nothing to do except read that magazine.
Ah, so you freed me from having an excellent excuse for not doing my crappy job.
Well...
You freed me from the burden of relaxing in here instead of emptying trash cans and cleaning toilets. Great.
Look.
You're a real hero.
I could just lock the door again.
No, it's too late now. I'm free. Free as the wind blows, free as my job blows. Thank you. Affirming yourself to the purpose of your true self. Potential thing about love. How to love wealth in just 5 minutes. Oh, dang it. I didn't think I'd actually get something. So they left their wallet in the nightstand. That's convenient. Okay, so we need an eyeball now. Hey, I got the button for you. Hey, thanks a ton. You sure are helpful.
Sylvester.
Well, howdy again, Sylvester. Which floor? Let's go to the 3rd floor. Hey, turtle. This door is locked and no earthly force can open it. Well, maybe a whole team of horses, but good luck getting those up the elevator.
Knock knock?
Yes, who is it?
Miss Gunn? I'm Sylvester Duty.
Are you with the ghost extermination people? Yes, ma'am. Florence Cunningham, Cunningham Ghost Annihilation Services. Sylvester is my assistant.
I'm your what?
Who's the county licensed ghost hunter here? Me or you?
Okay, fine. I guess.
Have you been able to exterminate all the ghosts? I still feel haunted.
13 of them left, according to this.
13 of them left, according to the scanner.
We're still working on it, ma'am. Don't worry, you can count on us.
Okay, so that's where I need to go when I'm done. Mr. Gunn. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Oh, boy. Oh, yeah. Come to...
Oh boy, oh yeah, come to Papa.
What are you doing?
Oh, nothing. What are you doing?
Looking at someone who's kneeling next to a spittoon with the apparent intention of sticking his whole entire face inside of it. You jam your hand into the spittoon up to the shoulder and find nothing. The brass bucket is shiny and clean, outside and in, clean as the day it was born. The museum staff must have washed it. It looks brand new. Are you crying?
No, I'm fine. You're crying.
Okay, well, I'll just be over here whenever you're done lying on the ground in a fetal position and hugging a spittoon. Well, that's sad. Too bad you're too busy to sit down, am I? Biggest Thomas poster I've ever seen. Wait, whoa, 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 whoa. There's a trapdoor in the ceiling over here. Too bad you aren't like 11 feet tall. That is too bad.
Hey there, how's it going?
I ain't interested in chit-chat, fella, just billiards. Step up or shut up. Okay, pull out your cue and the ghost nods and wrecks the ball. He utterly trounces you. You just can't seem to make the balls go where you intend. That was as sad a showing as I've ever seen. Let me see that cue. Yeah, there's your problem. This thing's about as straight as a banker's handshake.
What?
You're gonna need to lay this back to true if you want a chance against me. I saw a lathe. Where did I see a lathe? It wasn't on this floor. Maybe I should finish everything here first. The composition of this painting is bad in every way. City Bear has been comprehensively and enthusiastically disemboweled. His stuff would be perfect for making a silenter. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay. I'm gonna go now. Yeah, I didn't like that. It's a blank chalkboard. Gosh, gets me every time. Every time. Is that the doll? Dagnabbit. A stuffed gun. This little girl ghost is serving an imaginary tea to her guests. The doll, while terrifying, is largely indifferent. The museum employee, on the other hand, is playing along with a rictus grin on his face. The little girl wears an annoyed and disappointed frown.
Hello there. My name's Sylvester. Can I join your tea party?
If you want, I guess, but it's a terrible tea party.
What's wrong? You aren't having any fun?
All I have is dumb made-up tea. I want a proper tea party like Mama took me to.
Well, tell me more about this party.
We went to a real tea room. It was so pretty. There were vases with flowers in them, and everyone was all dressed up in suits and pretty dresses, and there were white china teacups for the tea. Real tea, not imaginary.
Well, that sounds very nice.
It was. It was so nice. Everyone was so polite and charming and elegant. Well, until the fight started.
There was a fight?
Well, two of the gentlemen there got into an argument. I don't know what it was about, but I guess one said something the other one didn't like. He was so insulted he threw his tea right in the first man's face. Then they took out guns and started shooting at each other right there in the tea room.
Whoa.
They were still really elegant, though. They had little silver and ivory pistols, and they kept their pinkies out the whole time. Anyway, I don't remember the rest very well, except one of them missed the other and shot me by mistake.
I'm so sorry.
Thanks, but it's alright. Heaven's supposed to be really nice, so I guess I don't mind so much. But I didn't get to finish my tea party, so I want to have another one before I go. Except I don't have any tea, and make-believe tea isn't fun anymore. Okay, so I need to get actual tea for you. The guy has a smile frozen on his face, and his eyes dart around in panic as he pretends to sip tea. Oh, man. Okay, I'm pretty sure once I get the tea, it'll let it go. What is this? It's a doll mine. Oh, I got a tiny stick of dynamite. Someone has been slacking on their geometry homework. Oh, I didn't even see that. Oh, hey, yeah, I need to... Probably need to give her that. Someone forgot a book under the bed. Fun law. Yeah, we're done with that. So I can probably use the fun law to try to find gun law. Also, I need to talk to you. Where is she? There she is. Found something for you. Did give her both of them. Yeah. Cool. Dueling banjos. Ugh. Hurdy-gurdy. This woman doesn't seem to be interested in anything other than cranking that hurdy-gurdy. You definitely disconnect the crank from the hurdy-gurdy without alerting the woman's attention. But it turns out you needn't have bothered. She continues to turn the crank, blank-eyed, even with nothing attached. You grab the end of the crank and pull her very slowly to the gift shop, where you find a Victrola to plug her into. Well, that's terrifying. Ask for some info. Provide information. Rocks. Sorry, I'm not actually going to read all this. I want to see if it'll give me something. Starting to think I might not. Let's see. Well, now I've got to get all the way back there. So that sucks. Actually, just stay here for a second. Let me just try to find that lathe. Where did I find that lathe? We've got the pool cue. What was in the parlor? Yeah. Maybe I can... I don't think this room's just here for no reason. Okay, well I can't go past him. Dining room. Do you have some tea? Or it's laden with empty dishes. I'm assuming the chili is in the kitchen. Lathe, lathe, where is the lathe? I have to find a button for her eye. Oh, I can look up fun law. Oh yeah, how did you die? Caught in crossfire in a library shootout. Sorry, my throat's killing me. I can't read. Can't read all of these. A pair of ruffians got into a heated argument over the comparative merits of Anton Chekhov versus Henrik Ibsen, and they started to shoot. Since won't abide gunfire in my library, it's far too loud. Chekhov fan shooting. Remember that gun I showed you in Act 1 before opening fire? That noise was dreadful. Fun law. Dang it. So a geometry textbook. That I'm sure I can. Oh, dueling banjos. Duel law. Basically, ah ha ha ha. Yes. Ha, that's funny. Okay, so now I know gun law. I might be able to get rid of this ghost. Except I'm on the wrong floor. Or am I? I'm not. The actual thing I find I'm quite conversant in the finer points of our justice system, particularly as it pertains to guns and gun-related activity. Horseradish, you're all trousers and no briefs. Fine, obviously you aren't going to leave me alone, so just ask your questions.
I'm Sylvester Duty, speaking for the record. State your name, occupation, and cause of death.
Felicity Wainwright, defense attorney, lost a court-approved trial by combat.
What? Trial by combat has been outlawed for like 15 years.
You do understand that ghosts don't visually age as time passes, right?
Oh, right.
So your client called for a trial by combat,
Which meant you were the prosecutor had to face off in a duel.
That's correct.
And you lost.
Are you acting dumb to try and throw me off guard?
I withdraw the question.
Why are you stuck as a ghost? Because although trial by combat was already well out of fashion at the time, it was still a valid legal recourse. I should have been prepared for the possibility, but I wasn't. My lack of training resulted in an innocent man being executed for murder.
Ooh. How was he executed?
Hanging, I assume. Obviously, I wasn't around to see it.
So to release you, I'd need to prove that the loss wasn't your fault?
The trial duel was completely fair and above board. There is no chance of there having been foul play on the prosecutor's part. My loss was my own.
Then I'd have to prove your client was actually guilty, and therefore your feelings of responsibility are misplaced.
Look, you think you know a thing or two about the law. How about you tell me the first rule of being a defense attorney?
Don't accidentally call him Mom.
You're to trust and believe in your client. If you don't believe your client is innocent, you'll never convince anyone else he is either.
So, if I want to convince you he was guilty...
You'll have an uphill fight, fella. You are essentially playing prosecutor here.
Alright, tell me about the case.
My defendant was Matthew Guilty McCready. There was a tombstone with McCready at one of the ranches. I think. Somewhere there was a tombstone. Accused of the murder of Victor Vic Timsbury at noon on June 18th, 1878 in Reno.
I have some questions. Your client was actually named guilty.
Come on. Names don't mean anything. I once had a client named Ike Ildeguy, and he was totally innocent.
For someone's actual legal name, sure, but nicknames are usually given with some sort of bias.
You've never met a really tall guy named Tiny? Or a fat guy named Slim? Arguably, the nickname Guilty would reinforce my client's innocence. It's the cause of his death. Timsbury was shot through the heart with a .45 caliber revolver.
And did McCready own such a gun?
Yes, he was holding it at the time, and subsequent examination showed that it had been recently fired.
Are you messing with me? This was at noon precisely.
Yes, that is confirmed by the witness. Also, McCready owned a fancy pocket watch that chimed on the hours.
No witnesses?
About half a dozen of them.
I'm pretty sure there's something you aren't telling me.
I'm not obligated to play my hand face up, Mr. Prosecutor.
Hang on a second. Shot with a pistol in front of witnesses at exactly noon. Was this a duel?
So you can add 2 plus 2 after all. Well done.
Well, as luck would have it, I've recently read a whole book about duel law.
What? Why?
No reason. I just happened across it in the library and thought it might be interesting.
You read an entire code of law you found at random just for the heck of it.
I sure did. Let me just do a quick review. A duel is legal provided it's between exactly 2 people, at a specific prearranged time and place, using the same or at least essentially similar weapons. And they have to either face each other down and quick draw at the appointed moment, or do the 10 paces turn and fire routine. Is that correct?
That's the gist of it, yes.
So, I guess let's start with you telling me the facts of the case, and I'll interrupt you rudely if I have any questions.
All right, but if you push me over on trivial nonsense, I'll get mad and you'll have to start over. McCready and Timsbury got into an argument in a saloon on the evening of June 17th. Apparently, Timsbury accused McCready of cheating at poker. The bartender yelled at them to take it outside, but since it was dark, they agreed to meet for a duel the next day.
And that would be the 18th, you said.
Go on. Well, the next day they both showed up shortly before noon and squared off about 30 feet from each other. When noon struck, McCready fired, fast enough that Timsbury didn't get his shot off, on account of having his head shot off. That's pretty much the short of it. What weapons were they using? McCready had a .45 caliber single-action army revolver. Timsbury had an older model, .36 caliber cap and ball navy revolver, which he loaded with paper cartridges instead of packing the gunpowder by hand. Those are significantly different weapons.
Are you kidding?
Are you kidding me? They're both pistols.
A modern cartridge revolver versus an antique cap and ball loader? Ridiculous.
That antique was in production until 1873, and was considered one of the most reliable and popular 6-shooter in the territories. Furthermore, the restriction against differing weapons in a duel is about pistols versus rifles, or the proverbial knife in a gunfight, or as more recent examples, a nitwit trying to argue the law against a professional attorney. Dang it. Let's go. Okay. The 2-headed horse.
Weird, did they have one?
No, I think the proprietor was going for a sort of double entendre, but doesn't really work.
No, it really doesn't. 2-headed spider, maybe, but...
Anyway, do you have any other questions? Day of the week was this? Monday, June 17th.
Well, that makes sense. Everyone's a bit grumpy on a Monday.
Uh-huh.
They should make the weekend Sunday and Monday instead. Then you could spend Monday relaxing instead of having to go to work.
But then, whatever. Do you have any other questions? Tell me more about the argument. Well, there isn't much to tell. The other players in the game had already folded their hands in that round, so they weren't paying very close attention. All we know is that Timsbury suddenly accused McCready of being a dirty, cheating varmint. McCready said Timsbury was just sore because he had been losing all night. Did
McCready have a history of cheating?
He'd been accused of it once or twice before, but Reno's a gambling town, and he hung out in the rough part of it. Getting accused of cheating by a sore loser when you're on a lucky streak is par for the course.
But if McCready had a history of cheating...
It would be irrelevant because the reason for the duel is immaterial to the legality of the duel itself. Motive isn't an issue here.
But...
It's extremely relevant. If McCready was a habitual cheater, it's likely he would have cheated in the duel as well. And somehow you're going to prove to me that McCready was a habitual poker cheater, 17 years after the fact. How exactly do you intend to accomplish that, Mr. Prosecutor? Even if you did somehow pull that off, it would be circumstantial evidence at best. You'd have to prove he cheated in the duel itself, in front of witnesses. Dang it. But I'm learning things. It's going to be a little trial and error, but I'm learning things. Go on. They set a specific time for the duel. Yes, high noon.
Figures, why is it always high noon?
Tradition, I suppose, and since the sun is at its highest in the sky, everything's brightly lit and there aren't many shadows, so that's good for gunfighting.
Makes sense. Why didn't they just fight right then?
Because it was dark. You can't have a gunfight in the dark.
No, I get that, but they could have just had a regular old fist fight. They were mad enough to shoot each other to death, but not to punch each other.
Well, without getting too psychoanalytical, these guys were gunfighters. I mean, they counted that as a significant part of their identity. Fighting without guns was not just outside their wheelhouse. They considered it a waste of their time and talents. Like asking a fancy French chef to make you a grilled cheese sandwich.
Why didn't they just not fight? Well, the fight breaks out in the heat of the moment, that's one thing, but they cool off enough to schedule a meeting for the next day and still go through with it. A card game is a heck of a thing to get killed over.
It's an honor thing, I suppose. That and they were each confident that they wouldn't be the one getting killed. Yes, it's dumb, but it's also extremely immaterial. Toxic definitions of masculinity and the general lawlessness of the frontier are not what are on trial right now. Exactly at noon.
Yes, as soon as the church bell started ringing.
So mentioned McCready's pocket watch. All he had to do was set his watch a few seconds early. That doesn't make any sense. He didn't shoot early. He shot when the church bells rang. That's verified by witness.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying he used the watch to warn him when the church bells were about to ring. A 5-second get-ready alert would have given him a huge advantage in reaction time. Huh. What do you say to that, Counselor?
You know, I'll give you that one. It's not bad. There's just two problems with the argument. Firstly, you're just guessing. You have no evidence. Secondly, if McCready was using that trick, which he may well have been, he was pretty clever. It wouldn't be illegal. There's nothing in duel law prohibiting the use of minor strategies like that. So long as McCready didn't fire before the appointed time, it's all above board. Ugh. I hate this lady. I hate her. It's almost midnight. I need to go to bed. Go on. Okay, go on. Okay. They interviewed, yes, and their stories line up with what I just told you. Were any of them known associates of McCready? I'm not aware of any of them being actual friends.
Any of those people could have interceded on McCready's behalf.
And done what exactly?
Well, they could have shot Timsfield with a more accurate weapon, like a rifle or a...
But there'd have been 2 gunshots instead of just 1. Or are you suggesting they shot him with a poison blowgun dart? Okay. Then there was the other option. Falling asleep. Go ahead. Go on. Go on. More details. Exactly at noon.
Objection!
What the heck?
McCready fired at the wrong time.
What are you talking about? He fired exactly at noon with the church bells. There are witnesses.
That's right, he fired at clock noon, but the duel was set for high noon. They aren't the same thing. High noon is just when the sun is at its highest point in the sky, depending on geography and the time of year. They can be hours different from clock noon. McCready fired early, and that makes the duel illegal. So what you say to that, Counselor?
I've got to hand it to you, Prosecutor Duty. You're a lot better at this than I give you credit for. It's a good thought you had there. I thought of it. Take that.
The heck is this?
I did my homework when I was preparing for that trial. My legal homework, since at that time I expected there to be an actual trial, not a gunfight. What you're holding there is a nautical almanac for the year 1878. There are bookmarks if you'd like to do the math yourself. But if you look up solar noon, aka high noon, for June 18th and make the adjustment for Reno's longitude, what do you think you get?
You have got to be kidding me.
That's right, Mr. Prosecutor. 12 o'clock p.m. precisely.
Well, damn.
Nice try, though. I mean that sincerely.
That's all my ammo. I can't think of any other way to disprove McCready's innocence. As far as I can see, it was a fair duel.
Yes, and that's me with the guilt of an innocent man's death on my hands.
An innocent man's death.
You sure are good at repeating things people say.
What if he didn't die?
Say what now?
Well, you didn't actually see the execution, right?
Yes, well, I was indisposed, you might say, being dead and all.
So you don't actually know whether or not it happened.
Oh, come on, look. I appreciate the effort, but you're barking at the moon. Let me ask you something. What can you tell me about McCready? He was a gunfighter through and through, and by that I mean he was an adrenaline addict, and dueling was his needle of choice. Hell, if you told me you had evidence that he cheated at poker with a specific intent of baiting people into challenging him to duels, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. He was the sly one. I make him sound like a real devil. That's not fair. He was smart and charming and could have been a good man if he'd chosen an entirely different life for himself.
Anything else?
Well, I recall he had a real good head for numbers. He told me that he never forgot a date, and every man he'd ever killed, he'd remember to pour a beer on their grave on their birthday.
Well, that's nice. A nicer birthday present would have been not having killed them in the first place.
Why did he invoke trial by combat?
Assuming he was innocent, why would McCready invoke trial by combat? His case was pretty straightforward. A duel only worsened his odds.
I was mighty surprised, let me tell you. The only thing I can figure is it was his damn full sense of gunfighter's pride or something. Like that was the only form of justice he was willing to submit himself to. Was the trial right after the duel, the 19th? No, I don't know what Reno's like now, but it didn't have a proper courthouse then, and you can't try a murder charge in the sheriff's front parlor. McCready sat in jail for a couple of weeks, then they transported him to Frisco. What with one thing and another, trial didn't start until July 25th.
So much for the right to a speedy trial.
The wheels grind slow. It was the execution. Well, we held the trial by combat on the 26th, and that was a Friday. They don't execute prisoners on the weekend, so presumably it would have been the following Monday, the 29th.
In the morning?
What with setting up the gals and letting a crown gather, they usually happened in the afternoon, around 3 typically. Yeah, I think I have to go to his tombstone. It's somewhere on the map. I remember seeing McCready. Did I do that? Oh, she walked into me. But we're going to leave that episode there. That's all the time I've got here. So thank you guys all so much for joining me. And until next time, stay spooky. Toodles.